Do 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 do. I think that's gonna be my theme song. I don't know. Oh, what's going on? Welcome into the Seth Justice Show. Yeah, really appreciate you being here. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got there. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the podcast at Justice underscore radio on Instagram and TikTok, and the Seth Justice Show on YouTube and on Spotify. So lots to talk about today. Uh, Martha Stewart is Martha Stewarting. A reality star is, well, I think getting karma for some of his actions. Corey Feldman and the Michael premiere, Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini, and of course the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I think we should touch on that. But first off, I want to say, hey, what's up? This is a different time than when I'm doing it. Usually it's either Sunday or Monday. I'm kind of fast and loose with the rules here, but hey, it's my show. We get to do what I want to do. So suck it up. Um, yeah, life is lifing though. So having a good time, just working my way away. And yeah, so pretty cool, I guess. I don't know, maybe. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, man. It's just like one of those deals where, you know, I think I've gotten to the point where like I feel like I don't know, I'm getting comfortable, which isn't necessarily great. I always like to live not for comfort. So this is an interesting time for sure, but hey, what can you do? Um, I think one thing I really wanted to talk about again and really kind of harp on starting off here is be able to control what you can control. I think that's a very important message for people right now because I think a lot of people are like, "Oh my goodness, I got to do this." No, you don't. You just got to focus on you. I think in this day and age, we need to focus on ourselves and be a little bit selfish because I think a big thing about what we need to do is we need to make sure ourselves are good. Because if we can't help ourselves, we can't help somebody else. So I think that is a very important thing. And I think if we show off happiness and good vibes and everything like that, that can go a long way, and other people can be like, "Man, I wanna be like that," or they'll be jealous for some reason. Um, so I think that's where I wanna start off because, I mean, controlling the controllables is one of the hardest things to do, and understanding that people have their own free will is also extremely tough, and I think that's one thing that we always kind of forget because we're in our own world so much that we're like, "You know what? I need this to be about me," and sometimes it's not, and in that case, well, you need to control your world and control your peace and be there for you in a way that, you know, is different and better than other people will see it because people will see it just for themselves. But sometimes people are so giving and want to help so much that well, it becomes terrible because a lot of people take advantage of that, and or they get so stressed out and everything. So if you are in that situation, take a breath, relax, and try and be the person that you want to be and focus on yourself and think about what do I really want? And that's what I want you to do. I want you to think about what you really want for yourself, not for others. Think about for yourself because if you can understand what you want and can actually attain that for yourself, I think that is a controllable that you can totally grasp. Now, if you want something for somebody else, that's never going to be the case. What you want for that person will never be the thing. And you can try and control the situation. You can try and control a narrative. If a friend and you and whatever, and if you think a friend should date this person or that person, sure, see how it goes. But it's just like, don't try and control the situation, control the narrative, and try and force something out of it. Or in some cases, like if you are at work and you're just like, I can't believe this person does this thing and they're not helping me out. Don't worry about that person. Don't worry about them at all. Focus on you because the best way that you can help that person or you can be a service to somebody else is to make sure all your ducks are in a row. So, that's little short, quick. I try, did I just try and like combine short and quick? Wow. That kind of tells you the day I'm having because I am feeling so forgetful over the past like week or two, and it's just like I don't. It's like little gaps here and there. And it's nothing out of the ordinary or anything like that. I don't think, and it's just I feel a little bit like I don't feel bad or anything like that. I just feel a little bit forgetful. So maybe I need to do some brain games or something like that to like sharpen up my mind and get to the place that I need to be with my brain. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've been very, very forgetful past and I've never been good with remembering stuff. I don't have great recall. I don't have, you know, I'm more of an in the moment kind of reactionary kind of guy. And yeah, it's just I don't know. I just sometimes it just there's a moment and you're just like, I don't really remember that. And that happens to me quite frequently. Happened to me at work today, and then also, I don't know, just different odds and ends. Sometimes I remember some things very, very well. Other things I don't. So maybe I need to do some brain games or something like that. Focus up my brain or do some puzzles. I do enjoy puzzles. I think that's great. Well, that's a great tangent. Um, anyway, the show, I think I want to start with the depressing thing first because I don't want to end on that. Um, so I think what I want to do is talk about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And that's what we're gonna do first here. And for me, I am not a very political person. If you know me, you know politics. It doesn't reach my algorithm. It's not something I want in my algorithm. It's not something I want to be around because I just think there's a lot of yes negativity, but also liars, man. I feel that. And I don't know if it's because I there's a distrust with the system. I don't know if there's a distrust with the people who are seeking the power that they have. And maybe it's just me just being an out and out rebel all the time and me not really wanting to, bend the knee to somebody. I don't know. But where I kind of draw the line on some of this stuff is when it comes to acts of aggression. And White House Correspondents' Dinner, if you haven't been watching the news or haven't been paying attention, there were shots fired at Trump's White House Correspondents' Dinner, and some Jimmy Kimmel stuff came out, and just a lot of like Erica Kirk stuff, and it's just like, man, I'm I come out of this situation disappointed with how we are as people right now because I don't know, man. It's just we've already come so far in our history as humans. We don't have to, farm. Like each person doesn't have to farm their own stuff. We can go to the grocery store and pick up food. We don't need to walk everywhere. Now some people do. Some people, I'm not saying everybody, but a large majority drive or, are able to get an Uber or their friends can take them or if there's bus. We don't have to walk everywhere. We don't have to. There are some people who have to. I will admit that. Um, but for the large majority, we'll say people can drive. Or it's not like a day or two walk for you to get to work or something like that. Um, we can we're able technologically we have artificial intelligence that are making videos that are more human like and that are getting tougher and tougher to discern, which is another thing that's bonkers and everything like that. um Quick tangent. I think if we use AI as a tool, we'll be okay. um but when it comes to just how we treat people. It's still very tribal. And I understand why people choose to be in tribes. There's a certain safety net there that they can always lean on somebody having their back and not being afraid to speak their mind because they know that there are people behind them that will support them. But the fact that we are here in the 21st century in 2026 and still talking about political violence and still talking about this side is terrible and they're, the antithesis of what we want as a society. And then the other side says the same thing about that side. And they say, oh, it's democracy is under fire. Our way of life is under fire. And it's not just liberals saying that about Republicans. It's not Republicans just saying that about liberals. It's both sides. And I think people are starting to get the idea, but then you have moments like this where there's another act of violence, and you're just like, come on. I, I'm not a parent, and it's but when someone says they're disappointed in how everything is, or the actions that their kid takes, I can kind of understand. Now, I can't say saying it. I was the kid who their parents were like, "Yeah, well, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed." And it's just like, golly, that's the worst. And that's kind of how I feel right now, where I'm just kind of disappointed in our country. And there's a lot of people who are saying, oh, like fake promises, or the promises weren't real, or, you know, just making light out of the life that we have. Life is a beautiful thing if we allow it to be beautiful. It's a change of perspective. There's such a negative perspective permeating through our entire society right now that I think is somewhat getting talked about, but not like 100%. Because I think a lot of people hit on little bits and pieces of it. I'm not saying I'm going to hit on all of them because I don't know enough to do that. But I think when it comes to there's like an air of negativity in this world right now where everything feels like we're just balancing it on a knife edge, where social media is awful, AI is awful, the government is out against us, the government is starting wars. If you're not with us, you're against us. If you're not, eating a certain way, if you're not doing certain things, if you're not blah 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 blah, and it's just like, my God, when did we get so negative, or have we always been this negative? Just like, really, man, I don't deal in negativity. I don't want to. It is not something that I want hitting my ears. I don't want it permeating my soul. I don't want it to be so involved in my life that I have to always constantly be negative. It drives me nuts. And it feels like some people can't get out of it. It's like quicksand. It's like mud that they're stuck in. And it's just like, we need to get a moment. I also don't think it's everybody. I just think there's just so much negativity, regardless of social media or linear television or an X, Y, and Z, an aunt or uncle or brother, sister, mother, father, grandma, grandpa, who talks about politics all the time. And there's an air of negativity where we don't trust things, or we don't focus on ourselves. We have so much power as an individual. We do. We get to choose what we eat in a day. We get to choose how we live our life. Oddly enough, we get to choose if we want to cheat on our partner or don't cheat on our partner. I choose the don't cheat on your partner. That's what I would choose. I think that's a great idea. Um, but it's also like there's there's a level of decision that you can make, and you can honestly make a decision as innocent as, oh, I'm going to change my hair color. I'm going to bleach my hair, which actually I kind of think I want to do, but I don't know. Or I want to get rid of some clothes, or I want to, eat this tonight or put these sheets on my bed. We have the choices to make, and our choices matter. And when we when we choose, or when one person chooses to take an act of violence and try to take the life of somebody, we should all admonish that. We should all say, no, this is not the society that we want. We want people to have conversations. And if we disagree, we disagree. Let's still grab a beer afterwards and talk about something else. But it's just so draining. And negativity is so easy. It is one of the easiest things to latch on to. And yet we don't realize as a like sociological kind of deal how useful negativity is to kind of get the sheep in line, put the sheep in the I don't know, in the fences, in between the fences. It is such a powerful tool and something that we can easily just not focus on. If we focus on what is beautiful about life, even on a cloudy day, it can really showcase some beauty. The trees, the grass, what we do, our relationships, again, even the food we eat. We can love some food. Like some people love yogurt with berries, and that's great. I'm not a big yogurt fan, but hmm, I do like berries. Well, the antioxidants, good for you. But it's just like we have got to be better about showcasing our positivity. And like I was saying earlier, control what you can control, which is your own self, your own positivity. Because if you show off positivity, hopefully somebody will see that and be like, man, X, Y, and Z, they're so positive. I kind of want to be like that. And a big shout out, somebody who inspires me is a guy who's on Jams 96.3. His name is HB Monty. He is just such a positive person. And it really brings me a lot of joy. And like even having conversations, and it's almost like my batteries get like charged almost. And it's just like it's really cool. And it's just the energy that somebody brings. And if we all had that, or if we knew somebody that had that, and we're like, my battery feels recharged. That's great. And then we're happy, we're going around, and then somebody sees that, has a conversation with us, and they're like, my battery feels recharged. It can work like that. We just have to allow it. So please, please, let's think positively. And please, let's not just go off the deep end with negativity. And let's be proud of who we are. Not just ourselves as an individual, but also the people in power and everything like that. And I'm not saying you have to like everything Trump does. I don't. But it is what it is. Just because somebody thousands of miles away says that you have to do X, Y, and Z doesn't mean you have to. You can agree to disagree and then go do your own thing. So, and again, we're not going to agree with everybody. That's not the point of life, is like just because you don't agree or you disagree or you do agree doesn't mean you need to, jump off a bridge for that person. So let's just focus on positivity and do the best we can, because that's the best and most amazing superpower that we have. So please, let's think about that. Um, and that was really the big thing I wanted to talk about because, obviously I just talked about that for probably 10 plus minutes. Um, and and I don't really know how to transition from that, to be honest. Maybe this is why we do the heavy stuff last. I don't know. I don't really. Let's kind of go a little bit, not tangent. What is it? Not like, what is it? I don't want to say like parallel, maybe parallel. I don't know. I words are hard, okay? And even though I have a podcast and speak on the radio, I still words are hard. But anyway, moving on to the next thing I want to talk about. I do want to talk about this Corey Feldman thing because I think it's kind of funny. So Corey Feldman apparently got invited to the premiere of Michael, which is the biopic about Michael Jackson. And I mean, there's a lot of history, I would say, with him and Michael Jackson. Um, and there's some interesting things, some not. I'm not too familiar with it, to be honest. But I also know there's, a little sketch. But again, I don't know all the facts, and so I don't really want to say what's in my head from what I remember because I don't necessarily know. But anyway, he apparently got invited to the premiere, but there was some kind of communication issue with either him and the people with the Michael biopic, or the invitation itself, or something else. But apparently he was in amongst the commoners watching this premiere and not with everybody else. So I don't know. I don't know why I think that's so funny because Corey Feldman arguably has had a very rough and tough life to some extent. I mean, child actor who had a promising career and then all of a sudden just kind of fell off a cliff, and had a lot of issues. I mean, like most child stars, there's a lot of issues that some can go through, and not a lot are unscathed by it. Um, but then to have this, and he's just like kind of going off the deep end about it. I mean, is maybe kind of why, maybe kind of why there was a miscommunication. Or maybe it wasn't a miscommunication. Maybe they were like, oh, yeah, we invited you. Didn't think you'd come, though. And he did. So, I don't know. I just find it a funny situation that I need to look into a little bit more. But I don't know. And there's a lot of things he says, and people have like disproven about some of the things he experienced in the 80s and 90s. Some stuff about Charlie Sheen, which we still don't 100% know. A lot of people are agreeing with Charlie Sheen in this whole thing with Corey Feldman, and then, all that. And I don't know. There's a lot, man. Um, but and I don't want to say it's funny to see how far Corey Feldman has fallen, but it is something to study. And if you are going to put your kids into, the entertainment business, full, show them Corey Feldman. This is what he looked like before. This is him now. So I don't know. Martha Stewart called King Charles cock. Apparently, that's just what she calls him. Which I mean, ugh, I don't know, man. He's the king of England, you know, king of the United Kingdom, which is really only a handful of countries, I think. I don't even know how many countries are in the United Kingdom. We have England, Wales, part of Ireland, and that's pretty much it. So can you really say you're the United Kingdom? Because even within that United Kingdom, there's like some people were like, "No, we're not gonna follow you." Or I guess Scotland, is Scotland still involved with England? I don't know. I mean, you're united of those four countries, so that's neat. When I think of a United Kingdom, I think more of uniting the entire planet. So if you called yourself the United Kingdom and you were I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be the world. You could be the United Kingdom of the world. The United Kingdom with four countries? Maybe some other like islands somewhere? Eh, kind of seems like a stretch. That's more me being a jerk. Um, I don't know, man. Though, even though like a king, but I call them Chuck. I think it would depend on how I would like be introduced to them. Like if I was introduced to this person that was like, "Hey, I'm Chuck," I'd be like, "What's up, Chuck?" Or if they're like, "I'm King Charles," that's my King Charles impersonation. I know, probably terrible, or it's probably spot on. I don't know. Um, I think that would depend on that. Also, how's Martha Stewart so close to royalty? I mean, she is like a massive name, but it's almost like you are that intertwined with royalty. Are you a spy? Is Martha Stewart a spy? Oh my goodness. Oh my, I better shut this podcast down now. She's gonna come get me. Oh, that would be perfect. I mean, oh, who else would you spill your guts to about like secrets? Martha Stewart's over here making you like, I don't know, like muffins or something like that. And she's like, "Oh yeah, so did you see about that one thing?" And they're like, "Wait, how'd you know about that?" Well, I mean, I just saw it in, things, and then they're like, "Oh my goodness, you don't even know. Here's the lowdown." I mean, that's how I assume it would go. So Martha Stewart, huh? A spy, allegedly. Um, oh, see, I think I've gone too far into the conspiracy world with some of my TikTok because there's also a lot of conspiracies that go down, and that I think is one that is underrated, especially now after she says, "Yeah, I gotta call the King of England Chuck." It's just like, you what? You do? Freaking weirdo. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think that's funny. Martha Stewart as a spy. She has an earpiece in and talking about, lemon meringue pie. And all of a sudden it's just like, so those nuclear codes. Oh yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're like, okay, thanks. Genius. Who if there's somebody who's doing that, absolutely round of applause. I think that's great. Don't come after me though. I'll take down the podcast or just delete it. Nah, I wouldn't do that. Oh, I just think it's too ludicrous. Too ludicrous. Oh, that'd be hilarious though. Oh, what if actors in their entirety are going down a slippery slope? I think we need to move on. All right. I think I might need, bulletproof windows or something like that. Oh, anyway, speaking of somebody who needed to be bulletproof, Rob Rausch. He was on Temptation Island, I think, and also Traders. And the dude kind of had some bad karma, and that bad karma involved him, a dog, and riding his bike, and then having a crash. Which I think after your whole Traders experience and Mara Higgins, who is gorgeous, gorgeous human being, gorgeous. Anyway, and you like fooling her from the get go. I think this is kind of karma, Rob. Yeah. Also, too good looking of a human, and like IDGAF mentality, which I also appreciate. But he's also really funny. Kind of douchey though. But I also kind of like a person who's like douchey and like the evilness. I always like the villain. I was always a fan of a good villain. Um, like for example, I always like Megatron in Transformers. I don't know why. Or Starscream. Starscream is a better um, uh, example of that. I don't know why. Don't know why. A villain was just like, yep, that person doing what they want to do. I like it. Maybe that's why I am the way I am now. But anyway, the dog is okay, I guess. Rob, not so okay. He's got a lot of scratches on his face. I think he also got like, you know, what is that called? Stitches. So, I mean, I don't think he really cares because he's a dude from, I don't know, down south. He like traps snakes or whatever. So he's probably been bit in abnormal amount of time. So I don't think he really cares. I just think it's funny because of the whole karma thing, and he has this after traders. But he did buy Mara a Birkin, so I mean, eh, is it karma? Probably Karma was saying that the Birkin just wasn't enough. I mean, he stole like $250,000. Or he didn't steal. He just more was conniving about it. He played the game though. So win-win. Last thing I want to talk about here is Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini. So if you haven't been caught up on this whole thing, it is a lot. So Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini, they were seen together at a hotel in Arizona, and they were a lot of people were saying it was flirtatious. I mean, they were hugging and I guess a little bit of a holding hands, and they were sitting like around at a pool in their bathing suits and everything like that. Mike Vrabel is married, two kids. Dianna Russini married, two kids. And since then, a lot of other pictures have come out, including a picture of them kissing in, I think it was like 2020 or 2021, 22, 23, in the early 2020s, which isn't a great look, to be honest. Maybe, I mean, I've heard a lot of and know a lot of people who they kiss other people on the lips aside from their spouse. I don't know why. That would kind of creep me out. And I'm also like a low-key germaphobe, so I'm not gonna do that. Um, so it's just like it's kind of strange to me. But this whole situation is even stranger because Diana Rossini effectively lost her job. She resigned because she was being investigated by the Athletics. And then Mike Vrabel goes to counseling with his parents, or with his wife and kids. They talk this out and everything like that. He comes back, gets a magazine cover for a Boston magazine, and gets applauded by, a bunch of people and everything like that. And it is like the the stark difference about what's going on here. Now, here's the thing. Yes, journalists need to have journalistic integrity. And do I think either one of these two should be fired for an alleged affair, which is looking more and more like they did have an affair? Maybe emotional. I don't know physical. Because, like I said, the kissing thing, a lot of people kiss on the lips of other people other than their spouse. I don't know why they do this. And some people don't do it maliciously. They just have a, I don't know. I don't know their explanations. Again, I wouldn't do it, but people do it. Um, anyway, uh, but it is so strange because Diana Rossini was getting like the highest paid person at the Athletic for her journalism and everything like that. And it almost seems like she was kind of forced out now. She still like maintains her innocence in this whole thing. Um, Even though some comments of her have come out where she likes the drama in a relationship, um, where it gets kind of icky. Uh, so I mean, I don't know if that was meant as a joke or it's taken out of context. I don't know. I just saw that on TMZ. Um, but I don't know, man. This situation, it's developing ever so much. And again, do I think either one of these two should be fired from their job? No. I think Mike Vrabel should be fired from his job. I don't think, Diana Rossini should be like let go or forced to resign from her position um because of it. Like I just think it's silly. But in the same vein, like people are so engrossed in other people's lives and it's just like, bro, you don't know who Mike Vrabel is behind closed doors. You don't know who Diana Rossini is like behind closed doors. All I know is that Mike Vrabel's wife still has the wedding band on. I know Mike Vrabel went to a counseling thing with his family, and I know Diana Rossini has turned off her social media because of all the hate she's getting, which she doesn't deserve any of the hate. Mike Vrabel doesn't deserve any of the hate. Is this an equitable situation? No, it's not. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's one of those situations where I'm just like, just butt out. Butt out of the situation. People make it so much worse on social media, calling other people, oh, you whore, or oh, you slut, or oh my goodness, you destroyed your family, Mike Vrabel. You're terrible. How could you do this? You're an awful human. And then, oh no, it's just, it's not an equitable situation. It's not a good situation. And most importantly, it's a private situation. And both people are in the limelight, and this is what you get when you're in the limelight. You get scrutiny, warranted or unwarranted. Um, and I just hope for all parties that, it works out in some way, shape, or form, whether that's they go back to their lives and nothing actually happens, and, whatever, or, just, I don't know, man. I just hope people learn to butt out of other people's business. But it's tough, especially with social media, because we put everything out there. We want to showcase, oh, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm doing. And I do that as a job, So I can't really, you know, scrutinize too much or say I don't like it because that's what I do. It's part of my job description. So I don't know, man. It's just icky. And especially like and that's why I don't like my personal stuff out there too much, is because I want that personal stuff to be my personal stuff. Now, am I as rich and famous as Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel? No, I'm not. I'm not even, overly well known in the radio scheme of things. I don't think I'm known at all, aside from the people who listen or have listened. But the thing of it is, man, I want my personal life to be my personal life, and I want my public life, we'll call it, to be my public life, which not too much difference between the two if we're being honest, but there's also a level of I want to make sure that what's in my personal life is something that's close to me and that makes me feel good and who I can vent to about the public self because I am who I am. And oddly enough, I turn everything to, reflect back to me and do what I do because, narcissist or egomaniac or whatever. Um, but yeah, in this situation, I just hope they get the peace that they need to figure this stuff out. Or if there's nothing to figure out, then just let it be done after that. So I hope they get that peace. And I hope you have a great rest of your night because I am done. This has been the Sad Justice Show. Thank you so much for listening. Really do appreciate you. But please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, share the podcast. If you like it, great. If you don't, I guess great. Anyway, please like, subscribe, follow, share if you'd like. At Justice_Radio on Instagram and TikTok. The Seth Justice Show on YouTube and Spotify. I really do appreciate you listening in, especially since it's been almost 40 minutes. So I appreciate you. And yeah, we'll talk next time. So have a great night. Peace. Hit the button, Seth.